What's going on, guys? It's Tetrosphere, and we do finally have the footage from the 3v3 case tournament that was recently held at GalaxyBusterTCG for the Mega Pack 2025 tins. Here in round one, we do have Juan facing off against the Batterbeast. Definitely a matchup for the ages. Of course, we do have the question of the day. And today's question isn't really so much about engagement or getting feedback. It's just a genuine question. Sorry about that. Hopefully you guys heard everything okay. Just noticed my mic was a little messed up. Anyway, today's question of the day. Have you asked a homie what up? You giving your boys a vibe check today? Gravy. Speaking of vibe checks, Gravy's over here. Just, make sure everyone's good. You know what I'm saying? Without anything else in the way, let's go ahead and jump on into our match. Looks like we got some shuffling. Let's skip ahead here. All right, players have decided to draw their cards, and let's see what we have going for us. Starting things off is Alex Batterbeast, who will normal summon Aramasa, and of course, we are going to attempt its effect to add a MitsuRyzeal monster from deck to hand. At which point we will add Habakiri. Not seeing any Droll or any forms of interaction, really. I don't even think I see a Phimena on the side of Juan there, so Batterbee will likely get a uninterrupted turn here. And even if he did have some form of interaction, I do see the Triple Tactics talent. So we're going to follow up with MitsuRyzeal Ritual. That's always fun to hard open. So we're going to go ahead and summon Habakiri from hand, tributing the Kusanagi, and I would hope Saji, or maybe Night Sword Serpent. But we are going to go Saji. And we do have, of course, a couple effects here. Kusanagi is going to be on Chainlink 1, targeting the Ritual to add it back to hand, and then Chainlink 2 is going to be Saji to add. This is a pretty smart play there, because basically no matter what the chain order is and how things are interacted with, he's going to have access to a second copy of Ritual. One of those two things resolving is going to put a copy of Ritual in the hand. But since it wasn't interacted with, of course, Saji is free to just simply search MitsuRyzeal Prayers. Now we can activate Ritual to tribute from deck, or not tribute from deck, summon from deck, tributing from anywhere else. Alright, looks like we're going to summon the Habakiri, or tribute the Habakiri to summon the Murakumo, which then, of course, is going to trigger its own effect to revive itself and search. Now, looks like we're going for a second copy of Prayer. So we are telegraphing to Juan here that we either don't play the trap in the main deck, or that we already have it in the hand. Alright, so we're going to go Prayers here, tributing the Murakumo. Oh, we do have a Phimena in hand. So Juan does have the ability to play on Alex's turn if he so chooses. Choosing not to at this point. Sorry about that, dogs were driving me nuts. Anyway, it looks like we overlaid the Aramasa and the Saji into a duo drive to go ahead and push our plays even further, accessing the Ryzeal portion of our engine. And here is where we are going to try to interact with the Phimena. Looks like we're not going to attempt to use Murakumo here. So we're going to go ahead and summon Arthalion. And it looks like we're going to go on Arthalion on Chainlink 1, targeting the Malulu and the Urgala. Malulu might just be trying to negate Duo Drive here, rather than trying to bounce it with the Arthalion. Oh, so the Arthalion targets are the Fimena and the Murakumo, it would seem. Okay, so Mululu resolves, setting the Ketu and negating the Duo Drive. And also setting Rahu. Now, talent is online for Mr. Beast here. And strangely enough, I don't know if he plays any rank 8s like the like maybe the Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord or whatever, but Arthalion and Habakiri could make that guy here if I'm not mistaken. But this also could be a talent to draw too, because without another play, I think if you play Photon Lord, you probably take, make, grab Tachyon, etc. Otherwise, it's a draw 2 because, yeah, it's a draw 2. The cut tells us a story. Yeah, it's going to be talent to draw 2 here. Which I do think is, like, if you don't play Photon, I think that's just the play. It looks like we did pick up a Bonfire there. That can grab X, right? Trying to remember which of the Pyros. I think it's Ice and X'd. Yeah, I think you grab X with Valon, or with Bonfire, send Valon, summon it, pop the Ketu. But it looks like we're considering Dynamondo. That could shuffle back. I guess I don't know Batterbeast's list to know why Bonfire Grab X wasn't the play here. I'm not tripping, right? Like, that should be an online play. Unless that just wasn't Bonfire. It looked like Bonfire, though. We're not under Droll. I don't think we're under any kind of restriction. Seems like we could have grabbed X there. I mean, I guess we still can. We haven't ruled that play out by any means. Yeah, there it is. Are you actually reading MitsuRyzeal right now? Well, that was MitsuRyzeal. Which you already normaled, so you can't go ice. What the fuck? Juan's about to put belt to ass. He already has Rahu in hand. There's the nib. That'd been decent. I missed which one was shuffled back, but it looks like it was Rahu because Ketu is fine. And we're going to go ahead and imperm. Ooh, Chain Fimena. insane. So Arthalion and Lucius gets uses fusion material, so the Imperm will miss target, and then the Ketu will not be negated by being in the Imperm column. Looks like we're thinking on what to summon here. Arthalion plus Lucius could make Mysterion, it can make Secretarion, it could make Gulamel, it can make another Arthalion. That's probably about what you're looking at. Yeah, we just go for another Arthalion, and then we're going to go ahead and resolve Ketu, right? Yep, okay. Ketu's going to go ahead and grab Urgula. And then Batterbeast does control a monster, so we can go ahead and perform another fusion summon. Urgula plus, I didn't see what else. Nibiru, okay. So that's going to go ahead and make a Gulamel. Now we have plenty of chain links here. We got Arthalion, which used one monster from hand, so it can target the Malulu. And then we're going to have Lucius, and we're going to have Urgula. And theoretically, we could even do the other Arthalion if we want to go crazy, because that one was engraved to see the other two. However, given that the threat of the Murakumo Raigeki is still online, it's possible that we don't do that. We're going to go ahead and go Valor on the Arthalion, which is fine. Keeps Malulu out of the hand. Everything else is going to resolve. So Lucius is going to set, and Urgula is going to set. And pop that back row, leaving us with just a Dynamondo. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, that Dynamondo can't threaten a Murakumo, right? Because the Murakumo, at least to my knowledge, that was the only one that was accessed last turn, was sent back to hand. So it's no longer properly ritual summoned. It did return to a place of private knowledge. So we're going to go ahead and set Flame in Horn and then pop the prayers. Now, I do believe, yeah, the card in hand is another Rahu, which on its own... Although we can go Urgula to put back Lucius. Normal Lucius, grab anything. We're going to go ahead and Ghost Spell that, though. That's fair. That's really... That's fair. The other option is a Link 2. You could go Cross Sheep, revive the Gulamel from grave, and then Cross Sheep will revive Lucius. Lucius can then perform a search. I don't know if he sees that line, but that is available. We're going to go ahead and swing over the Dynamondo and then direct with Arthalion. And we have an issue here because that MitsuRyzeal is a normal summon that we know Alex has in hand. So we're going to go ahead and go into main phase 2, and it does look like we are linking these away into a Cross Sheep, and then there it is. The other Arthalion can go ahead and return to the field. And then Cross Sheep is going to go ahead and summon Lucius. And then Lucius is going to go ahead and perform a search. I think there's an argument for Pan here, but we do go 5 mana. It's fair enough. Putting Sting down would be nice. Sting is definitely a very good interaction against this Mitsurugi strategy. But I think overall we're way more concerned about the normal summon of Ice. Looked like we were considering going into SP Little Knight there with Lucius and Cross Sheep, but ultimately we decided against it, which makes sense. I do think SP was potentially a play there, but I think not overextending is also very fine. We're going to go ahead and normal summon Ice. I don't really see a reason to interact with this. We're going to go ahead and bounce it back. Put the Ketu back and draw a card. Looked like that might have been a Veiler. Ice specials Sword, doesn't summon it. Sword then summons, searches on summon. That was a Veiler, so that's huge. That is absolutely massive. We do, however, also know that Batterbeast has a Prayers in hand. And I don't think he's done Habakiri's effect to search. Or, like, the reveal in hand effect. I don't think that's happened yet. So, a lot to extend through here. But we will go ahead and Veiler the Sword, which is an awesome sentence. Okay, so we have Ice in hand, a denied search from Sword, Prayers, and I'm not quite recognizing the other card. Prayers will get us there. Okay, so we are going to send Habakiri. We had Habakiri anyway, so we're going to go ahead and send to make Ice from hand, and then we're going to fuse away the Arthalion and the Lucius into Mysterion. This is going to trigger Gulamel to revive itself, and that could be also the other Arthalion coming back. And this will, in theory, also trigger the Cross Sheep and the Lucius to set. It looks like the Lucius effect might have been missed. But yeah, we are going to go ahead and go with that Malulu summon. We've walled up quite nicely. The problem is that this can all be denied by a simple Murakumo. I think the play here might have been to summon Lucius off of the Cross Sheep. That way Lucius triggers to search, and then Alex has to either Prayers right then and there to chain block Gulamel, or Gulamel then pops one of the Ryzeal names. But yeah, he's hovering over that Exciton Knight, and yeah, that is definitely a live play here, so now, I do believe that last card in hand is a Rahu, so Malulu should not be online. Yep, that's correct. Cross Sheep goes. Flame goes. Alright, we're just going to go ahead and pass it right back. Looks like we top deck Lucia, so that's decent. We also have the Urgula engraved to put Fimena back in hand if need be. Looks like that's the first thing we're considering, yeah. That's definitely the play. And the scoop. Batterbeast, unable to work through the grind game of the Dracotail deck, decides to just go ahead and play on the being able to win games 2 and 3. Saw enough in game 1, which considering time is of the essence, we're already about 20 minutes into this match. I do think that is a logical play. However, we do have Droll and Lockbird now likely coming in because, as we know, that's not something we're really seeing in main decks very often, which is sort of an advantage for MitsuRyzeal decks and MitsuRyzeal in general. Also, fewer people playing Perulia, as it's seen as not that good in the current format. But on the other hand, of course, we do have a floodgate of our own against Dracotail in the form of Retaliating Sea, one of my favorite insects of all time. So that, if it's played, is of course coming in, and basically we could be in a scenario where both players are sort of at the mercy of each of the opposing player's side decks, because definitely both players here respected the deck that their opponent is playing. Anyone would respect Dracotail right now, but of course we did see Juan playing the Joel and Lockbird in the side deck, so choosing to continue to respect MitsuRyzeal, or just MitsuRyzeal variants in general, very wisely, as it is coming up here in round 1 of our case tournament. Looks like Drolls and Sting going in with King of the Swamp, and looked like a couple other traps maybe coming out. Didn't quite catch Batterbeast's exact side pattern there, but a pretty light side from Juan. They're just 4 cards in, 4 cards out. Oh, I saw Contact Sea in the side deck there as well, which, if you're playing Contact Sea to respect those kinds of decks, then I do think you're likely playing Retaliating Sea to respect Dracotail. So that might definitely be something that we see come up here in game 2, but that is for the cards to decide and the shuffling to allow. Let's see what we get here, as Alex will have the right to decide who is taking first here in game 2. Now, this is actually a bit more of a question, I think, against Dracotail, because the deck is extremely competent going second. And now that we've sided, you might expect, as the Dracotail player, that you're going to be sent second, despite this board-breaking ability your engine has, because obviously most decks just want to go first. So a counter strategy to Dracotail could very well be that you suspect your opponent is siding for going second. You know, they're putting in like Mulcharmies and power spells, perhaps. And then you send them first, because you know that the Dracotail board is very fair, very, it can be played through. It's not an oppressive board at all. And then you don't have to deal with the chance that they draw 5 or 6 very powerful engine cards going second and just completely wipe your board. And that does seem to be what has happened here. Alex has sent Juan first, who is opening the game up with a normal summon of Dracotail Lucius. Peeking over at Alex's hand, I did see a Lightning Storm. I did not see a Retaliating Sea. But my guess is we have like a Valor Ash or Imperm, because we were considering interacting with that Lucius but decided not to. Although spicy for the MitsuRyzeal strategy, perhaps not out of the question, just to simply respect the Dracotail matchup even further, it could have even been a Dimension Shifter. Something that used to be dropped in the draw phase. However, I feel like in this particular matchup, it is more correct to prefer to chain it to an effect, just so that way you know that the fusion materials will be banished, as opposed to them simply not playing and waiting for the floodgate to reside, because Dracotail is so actionable on both players' turns. So here drops the Phimena, attempting to perform an effect to fusion summon, and this is not going to be met with interaction, as King of the Swamp and Dracotail Urgula will be fused into a Arthalion. It's going to target the Phimena and the King of the Swamp to put back in the hand, And then Urgula, of course, is going to try to set. There's the Imperm on the Arthalion. Very logical. Urgula will, however, still have the opportunity to set a card. Now, the good news here is because we used Urgula and Fimena, we still have the ability to put Fimena back in the hand with the effect of Urgula. So we're going to go ahead and set Rahu there off of Urgula's fusion effect. And looks like we are linking away the Lucius. This could be an Artemis play or simply Spirit with Eyes of Blue. And then those are going to make seals. Very solid opening play there. And then I would think Urgula puts Fimena back. But that's going to be met with Ghost Bell. Okay, so we're low on resources of our own here. We haven't been able to recover from Arthalion or Urgula. But Batterbeast also is down to 3 cards in hand, drawing into 4. And we have 2 hand traps. We're considering that Rahu. I kind of feel like this is a mistake. Nib Valor is obviously an extremely strong combination. And I think that you were probably happy to sit on this with the Seals, especially because Seal can summon Malulu from deck on the opponent's turn, or Lucius, or not Lucius, yeah, just Malulu. But point being, Malulu then could also perform a fusion summon. So we're going to use Pan and Effect Valor. To make a Gulamel, and then Pan is going to set. And setting, I believe the other traps were sided out, so it's probably just going to be a Sting. Do not set Ketu and search with it. No, don't do it. No! Fuck! I hope I'm wrong. I hope that was the play. That was greedy. I did not care for that one bit. Lightning Storm. Okay, listen, people. I know that I knew about the Lightning Storm, which makes setting the trap seem worse. I get it. But Juan didn't know that. Saji grabs Ritual. Now, it looks like our only Ryzeal access there was Node, so the good news is we do need to get into Duo Drive to access our Ryzeal engine, at least in principle. Probably summoning from hand. Yep, okay. Chibiting Aramasa and Kusanagi. Alright, so we're going to go Murakumo to blow up the board, Kusanagi to add back Ritual, and then Aramasa to add a Mitsurugi monster. Now, the good news here is this will trigger Pan, because Gulamel was popped. I guess you can grab Lucius. And then Lucius will search. Murakumo's attempting to negate. And we do discard the Fimena. And I do think this is okay because we can grab another Fimena with the Lucius, and we still did plus on this because Lucius is now on board and can search. So we have the Fimena in hand plus the Lucius on field. plus the Nibiru in hand. So this does recover still, despite the discard from the Mirakumo popping the Guillemel, whereas without the discard, we would have just had the Fimena in hand and the Nibiru in hand. So I get it. It just feels bad. And then there's Ritual added back to hand, and then the Habakiri was added to hand off the Aramasa effect. And we already summoned from hand. I don't think we interact here. Because, we know they contribute Habakiri from hand to summon from deck. I'm unsure exactly what they're going over, but I'm guessing this is some kind of the teammate checking on the game state. It seemed like everyone was looking in the other direction, so probably just clarifying something very, very quickly, at least hopefully. Oh, but we do attempt the effect of Fimena. We're going to go Nib plus Lucius. I don't think this is it, dog. I really don't. Because you know Ritual and Habakiri are in hand, and these are going to get pushed through. Okay, add the Veiler back. I get it. I don't really see why you would add back King of the Swamp unless you feel like you know you're going to survive this turn, but at this point, I don't think you know that. In fact, I think you feel pretty bad. Like you feel like this is definitely not the spot you want to be in. Alright, set the Ketu. That's fine. And then we did trigger Guillemel to come back out. Okay. We did already work through 2 board wipes, so walling up here with the Guillemel isn't horrible. Alright, so we do go with the other prayers. Or Ritual, sorry. And then... Okay, so we're summoning from deck, attributing the Mirakumo that's on the field. Mirakumo is going to attempt to revive itself and add a Mitsurugi card except itself. Habakiri, while on the field, is dropping all of Juan's attack, or monster's attack, by 800 points. Alright, so now we can go prayers, but it looks like we decide not to. I don't know how many Mitsurugi names we're on. I wonder if Habakiri's not live in hand. What if it's 1 Aramasa, 1 Saji, 1 Kusanagi? I feel like normally you play more Aramasas though, right? Again, clarifying something with the game state here. But it looks like we're going to go ahead and go into battle. Or at least that's what it looked like. Maybe we're just discussing options. Alright, so Mirakumo is going to beat over the Arthalion. Habakiri is going to beat over the Gulamel, which banishes it. And then Saji is going to attack directly. We're going to go ahead and activate prayers, tributing the Habakiri. And we're just going to go ahead and summon the Aramasa from grave. And then Habakiri, I don't think that's already happened, is going to search and summon itself. I'm trying to remember if it was last game. I don't think Habakiri's done that this game. I could be winded, but I don't feel like it. I'm trying to remember what was tributed from Mirakumo. I think it was Aramasa and Kusanagi, and then the other Habakiri was, or the Habakiri was originally summoned by tributing Mirakumo, if I'm not mistaken. So I do think we're all good here. Habakiri is going to attack direct for 24. And we're going to go ahead and go into main phase 2, where the Aramasa and the Saji are likely going to try to make a duo drive here. But we know Valor's on board, so could be a Baguska situation. No, that's not very good. Baguska's not good against this deck. Especially because, you know, Ketu's the card down there. I guess you could go like Tornado Dragon, pop the Ketu. That could be a play. But I think you make Duo Drive, make him use the Effect Veiler, and then put him on drawing a monster, because if that top deck is not a monster, well, actually, because of the I think you get rid of this Ketu is a play, or the Duo Drive. I mean, I'm fine with this because you do have the Mitsurugi Mirakumo hand rip as well, now that I think about it. So this is also better. And he can do it again. Yeah, I think I like, now that I talk it out, I think I like Tornado Dragon better than Duo Drive. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and set our other prayers. We're on an Effect Veiler and a top deck. And not to mention Mitsurugi Mirakumo is there to negate something. Let's see what we got. Looks like it's a Bestial Magnum Hut. We do have Urgula to recover a resource. It's gotta be Lucius, though. I don't think there's anything in the hand. I think the hand just node Habakiri. So all we have is the Tornado Dragon Pop, the Murakumo hand rip or negate, and the prayers. So Lucius is put back in the hand. I don't know why we scooped on that. I thought, why don't we normal Lucius? Try to add. They go Murakumo. You discard Veiler. Add Phimena. I think you had some plays there. I think you could have done some things. Arthalion could have recovered resources too. Why are you like showing the top decks face up? This match is not over. Definitely just revealed private information. Why are you siding face? What? Oh, I bet the other teammates were done. Maybe okay. Maybe I'm yapping. Maybe the match is over because the
the 2 others already decided the fate of the match. I always forget that that's an element of these 3v3s. But regardless, an interesting one to get us started. I'm really glad that these players gave us the match and were willing to play on camera. I do appreciate everyone who shows up to these tournaments and lets me record the matches. It really means a lot. It gives us all content to enjoy. And I appreciate the store allowing me to do my thing over there and record these matches and do my videos. So shout out to GalaxyBusterTCG. We got, I think, like 6 more of these. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.